Hello, in this tutorial we will show you how to edit the front page of your website. Upon logging in and being greeted with your dashboard, we will use our mouse cursor to navigate to pages, and we will select all pages. Next, we can either use the search bar to locate the front page, or we can scroll through until we find it ourselves. As you can see, we have located it here, and it is titled the front page. Hovering over this, I have the options to edit, quick edit, trash, view, or edit with Elementor. Please note that I will select edit with Elementor as that is the page builder we are using. Please also note that if this page becomes unresponsive, it is due to your internet connection. Simply refresh the page and try again. As you can see, the page is loaded, and to start we will first use a mouse to navigate across the site. As you can see, while navigating across, there are certain sections which are highlighted. Starting, we will scroll to the top and we will start with the main element, the section. As you can see, it is currently highlighted by a thin blue border. If I were to select the edit section option, the window on the left will appear and we are currently taken to the layout side. Here we can change the content width, which is currently set to full width, but we can change that to boxed, and you will see the changes happen live. We can then edit this further, but I will simply set it back to full width as we have it set up already. Next, we can choose to change the column gaps of the section, the height, vertical alignment, the overflow, and clicking on the structure we can see that we currently have 3 columns within the section. Moving on to the style side, here we can choose to edit the background of the section. As you can see, we currently have it set to a classic background, and we are using this color. For the time being, I will copy this, and as you can see, we can change the color to any color we desire, and the changes will happen live. I will now paste back in the original color, and we will continue. Next, we have the option to add an image to the section. By selecting Choose Image, a new window will appear. By default, we are taken to the media library, and this is where all the images are stored on your website. We have the option to select Upload Files, where we are able to upload a new image from our computer. For the time being, we will select Media Library, and we will choose this image. We will then select Insert Media, and we will see that the image has been added. Now as we have added an image, we have additional options. Here we can choose the positioning of the image, the attachment, which if we were to select Scroll, we will see that the background image scrolls with the rest of the site. If we were to select Fixed, we will see that the image stays in place while the rest of the site loads. Scrolls, my apology. Next, we can choose our repeat options for the image, as well as the size. We will now set this back to default, and we will continue. Here we are able to add scrolling effects and mouse effects. Our particles and parallax here you need not worry about, as we have already set this up for you. In our background overlay, we have the option to add an overlay to the background. Here we can choose either a normal or a hover effect. By selecting our background type and choosing our color, we will see that the changes will happen live. Below this is the slider that we can change the strength of the transparency. We will remove the color, and we will move on to an image. Here we will simply select Choose Image. We can choose our image and insert it, and we will see it will appear. As you can see, it is rather intense, and we can change this by using the slider. Again, just as before, we have additional options for this image, including its positioning, attachment options, repeat options, size, and so forth. I will remove this image, and I will show you how the hover section will work. By selecting hover, we have the exact same options. Here we will choose the same image, and we will insert it. As you can see, we have inserted the image here, but it is not appearing in the column as we are not hovering over it. Once we hover over, we will see that that image will apply to that entire section. I will remove this, and we will continue to the border. The border works the same way as we have a normal status and a hover status. We will simply choose our border type, our border color, our border width, and our border radius. Our border radius is the edges or the corners of the border and how curved they will be. As you can see, I've increased this number, and our edges have been curved. We will now select a hover state, and we will make the color red to show you the difference. We will increase the size, and as you can see, it currently has a blue border pertaining to the entire section. If I were to hover over, it will change to our red hover settings, as you can see here. We will now set that back to default, and we will continue. Our shape divider works in the same way. We have a top setting and a bottom setting. We will simply choose the type of divider we wish. We will choose the color we wanted, and we can change the width, the height, as well as flip the shape divider or bring to the front or to the back. We will set that back to default, and the same can be done for the bottom settings. Moving on to our typography, you do not need to worry about this as it is already set up for the website. In our advanced tab, this includes our margin and padding, which you again do not need to worry about as we have it already set up for the website. Now that we have covered the section, we will move on to a column. As you can see, we currently have 3 columns in this section, but to make it easier, I will edit the middle column. I'll simply select the Edit Column button, and the window on the left will appear. Here we can choose to change the column width, vertical alignment, horizontal alignment, widget spacing, and HTML tag. Moving on to our styling section, here we can add a background. Please note that this background will only apply to this column that we are editing. We can simply choose the color we wish, and we will see the changes happen live. The same can be done for the image. We will simply choose an image we wish to insert, and insert it, and it will appear. We will remove that, and we will continue. Our background overlay is the same as before. We have our normal and our hover settings, and by choosing our type, we can continue to customize it further. The same can be set for the border, where we have our normal and hover settings. We will simply choose a solid border. We will increase the size, and we will choose the color. As you can see, it is not showing, as we have another setting that is interfering with this. We'll simply remove this, and we will continue. In our typography, again, you do not need to worry about this, as it is already set up for the website. The same can be said for the advanced section, so you do not need to worry about this. Moving on from the column, we are now going to edit a widget. Widgets are indicated by a thin blue border, as you can see here. We have 3 widgets in this column. Here we would have a heading, and by selecting the edit button, the window on the left appears. Here we're able to edit the title live, and we will see the changes happen. We will remove that, and we will continue. Here we are able to insert a link. In other words, if clients were to select the title type to help, we can link it to another page. We can also change the size, HTML tag, and the alignment of the text. Moving on to our styling section, here we can choose the text color. Currently we have it set to black, but we can change it to any color we desire. Next, in our typography setting, you can see we currently have the font set up to Quicksand, but we are able to change that by selecting from the list below. Moving on, we can change the size of the title. We can change the weight. We can transform it to uppercase, lowercase, capitalized, or normal. And we can edit the styling, making it normal, italic, or oblique. We can also add decoration, such as an underline, overline, line through. We can also change the line height and the letter spacing of the heading. By selecting the edit button, we will close that window, and we can move on to our text shadow. As you can see, I've enabled the text shadow, and we can see a slight blur around the text. Here we can customize this further, and we can choose a color we desire. As you can see there, it is now turned red. We will simply select that back to default, and we will continue. In our advanced section, again, you need not worry about this as it is already set up for the website. Moving on, we will edit another widget. As you can see here, we currently have an image inserted in this column. By selecting the Edit Image button, the window on the left will appear. Here, we're able to choose an image from our media library, or we're able to upload a new one. We will close this, and we will continue. We have now come to our image size, and I would suggest we set this to full to get the best resolution out of the image. We can also change the alignment, but as you can see, this is not changing as we have this image set up perfectly for this column. Next, we can have the option to add a caption, or we can add a link to the image. Moving on to the styling section, here we can change the width of the image by using the slider. You can see we have currently set it to 100%. We can also change our max width and change the transparency of the image by using the slider below. Next, we can choose to add a border to this image, and if we were to select a solid, we will see that the border will appear. Next, I will show you how the hover effect will work. We will simply select hover, we will choose our border type, we will choose our border color, and we will choose our border width. As you can see, there's a slight error there, so we can ignore this for the time being, and we can simply set it back to default for the border. Moving on, we come to the advanced section. Again, this we do not need to worry about, as it is already set up for the website. Now that we have covered the three main elements of a website, I will show you how we can add to this. We will simply select the 9 dots over here, and we are able to add more widgets from the list below. If we were wanting to add an image to the section, we will simply drag the image, and as you can see, it will show us where it will place the image. If I let go, we can see that the image has appeared, and we are starting with a blank canvas. Here we can continue to choose an image we wish to insert, and we will see the image appear. We can customize this further, but for the time being, I will simply right click, and we will delete this. Next, I will show you how we can add an actual section to the website. We can either scroll to the very bottom and click the Add New Section button, and it will ask us what structure we desire. If we wish to have one column, we will select that, and we will see that the new section has appeared. We are also able to select and drag this and move it to another area. Now I will delete that, and I will show you that we are also able to add a section above this one. By simply selecting the Add section, the same window will appear. Here we will choose Add, and we will select our structure, and we will see that it has added the 3-column section. We will remove that, and once we're happy with all the changes made, we can hit Update. That is how you would edit the front page, and for that matter of fact, any other page on your website, as it is all working the same way.